Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, and fingers crossed, technology doesn't eat us in the arse. Paul having a little bit of difficulty with the internet over there, wherever he is around the world. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ready Bang, the #1 arm wrestling live stream in the world. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and don't worry about winning East versus West. I am your 2019 Melbourne Cup left arm, 80 to 95 kilo, third place getter. Wouldn't surprise me if my guest challenges me for it, because everyone else in the world has. And let me thank some awesome, awesome people, my Patreon and YouTube bangers. For just as little as 50 cents a week, you guys are supporting the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and you are really helping out. All the money that he's made from this just goes back into the channel. And by the looks of it, I might have to help with Paul Linn's internet, but that's all right. And I'm so excited. I'm going to play all your names again. It's really, really important what you guys do for the channel. And I'll tell you what, have I got a guest? Look at them all there. Look at all the supporters. I cannot get excited enough there. Really, really appreciate it there. Now, as we have a look at some of the legends in the chat, let me introduce my guest here. Oh, boy, was he instrumental in East versus West. I tell you what, if he was a video game, I would certainly pick him first on the Super Nintendo. He was Linn-credible. He was Linn-spiring, and we're going to give you the Linn-side scoop of East versus West. I call him Lindiana Jones. Paul Linn, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jake. Always a pleasure, man. You know I'm here for you whenever you want to do one.
Yeah, you're a superstar. We'll have to keep rolling on. As you can see, we're getting a bit of audio, so that'll do, because Paul's having a bit of trouble with his internet because he's too busy pinning everyone. Archdog has jumped in and says, thanks for being true gentleman, Paul. Dan the Nightmare Schwartz says, ready bang. Hey, Paul, great job this weekend, which is good.
Thanks,
Warren
thanks,
Raver says, what's up, fellas?
Right.
Shane Carey says, this dude is savage. Marcus Thompson in the chat says, slained, boys. It is all happening. Devon's forearm, ready bang. Everyone, give us a ready bang. We've got a vote. We've got a poll going, Paul, trying to decide who your next opponent should be. So if everyone could vote in the poll, we've got Zarab Tabvariti, Todzilla, Zolev, or does Paul want to get his win back against John Brezink? So we're going there. Let's start with it all, Paul. East versus West. Match of the night. How did it feel?
Oh, yeah. It was a different experience for me. That's my first time going overseas. Been wanting to do it for there was a little bit of anxiety based on rule set and refereeing, but the event was incredible. The refereeing was very good. It wasn't like what you would think with like WAF, where they're calling every single thing. They definitely left it. They only called the big fouls, which was really good. So it was a good in-between, I think, a right formula for the super match format as a whole.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. If you can you bring your microphone closer to you, my man? I don't know.
Yep. Let me turn it up.
Yeah, because
my only other option is to go to my cell phone. You owe me a cell phone quick.
That's all right. Well, so as long as you got good internet, either. If you need to hop out and hop back in,
let me see if I can switch to my cell phone quick.
Yeah, that's all right. You've got nothing to apologize for, big fella. I'll have a quick chat in the comments. What I want you guys to do as we try and fix up Paul Linn's internet and things like that. Give me your best Paul Linn pun. You know I absolutely love them. I want to see what the best ones going around. Marcus Thompson nails it. Arm wrestling internet. Gotta love it. We'll definitely talk about some Turkish internet hotel Wi-Fi that may have caused some problems during the stream. Dan John's pretty happy. He says, Paul, you legend. Way to go, Paul. Way too strong. Juju Mugo understands. Says, is Paul Linn still in Engen's hotel internet? Oh, no, he's back in the States. Sarah Latoni in the chat just giving us a ready bang. What else do we have? Another ready bang from Dan John. Everyone, like this video while you're here. We've got the Paul Pad Piercer. Linn is going. Yes, Marcus, you got in a lot of trouble there with your super chats and things like that over on Neil's show. We'll just see what Paul's done. If you just go to Facebook, Paul, and click the link on your phone that I sent you, that'll swap it over to your phone.
Hold on once. Here we go. Hold on. You can double up on this.
All righty, hang on. I'm going to remove that one. Oh no, we might. So can you turn off your computer so we don't get the echo?
All right, are we better?
I think we're much better.
Okay.
Hey, Paul Linn's finally joined the show. Oh, don't freeze on me, big fella. Don't freeze on me. All right. We're back to it, Paul. Mate, the arm wrestling world lost their shit, including the Aussie arm wrestler and Uncle John. I sent you our reaction. We'll get to the actual match. We'll get to the actual match and the actual event. But how did you feel from the I could only imagine the outpour of congratulations after your massive, massive win on the weekend?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still getting caught up on Facebook. I mean, like, everybody who reached out, it's super incredible. I thank you guys so much for the support. It's never easy to go to a foreign country, on that stage and compete, especially when you're kind of representing the West or your country or whatever else. So there's a little bit of level of pressure with that. So I appreciate all the support, man. I feed off of it completely. The more that we have, I think, support for the West, the better we're going to perform, because at the end of the day, when you're outside of your element, all you can really revert back to is the support you're getting from back home. So it doesn't come in the form of pressure. It comes in the form of motivation. So I appreciate you all.
Oh, see, this is why we're all jumping up and down, doing backflips. I almost rolled my ankle when you came from 2-1 down and won. That's how excited I won. And I find it funny. The guys have clicked the thumbnail, the photo behind me here. It's quite funny that this bad man looking at the camera, giving it these ones, is this smiling assassin next to me. You're the same guy. It's awesome. Now, usually when I have a chat with the West team when they've just gone to Turkey, the one thing they always bring up is the travel. How did you find the travel, the jet lag, the back and forth, the turnaround?
Yeah, my situation was a little unique because I think I was the only person who had a weight cut. I don't think anybody else really weighed in. So, when Engen first introduced the match to me, I had told him that I was wanting to come down in weight, which I am. I had been big for John. I've been big for Ron because I'm chasing those guys that are heavier than me. I'm just eating whatever and thinking, like, eat the carbs, be as strong as you can be, And honestly, that's not where I feel best. I feel best right around 215. I told Engen that, and he said, okay, good. I got a match for you at 95 kilograms, 210, basically. I said, cool, perfect. That'll be great for the summer. He went back to the Georgian team, and they said, no, he needs to be 100 kilograms to pull a 90 guy. And I said, well, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'll be 220 if you want me to be. So I just kind of maintained my at the time weight of about 225, and I had 5 pounds of water to cut. So I mean, that's a simple cut. It's a water cycle, 2 gallons a day. Start out like 5 days ahead. Slowly dehydrate yourself without actually, getting in a sauna or anything. I'm used to doing that. It's part of being a professional in the sport. You got to be able to do that. So I started the day before my travel. Well, I mean, I started 5 days before, but I got to 221 before my travel day. And I figured, all right, I'll float this last pound. I'll just fly there, the 9-hour flight, the 2.5-hour drive to get to the airport, the setting. So like the 15-hour process, I didn't eat or drink anything. And when I got there, I was under the impression I was going to weigh in. And right when I arrived, everybody was in the lobby, and Engen was on a live feed with Neil. And he brought the camera up. I said hi to Neil. I said, Neil, pardon me for a second. I need Engen to weigh me in because I want to go drink some water. And Engen said, don't worry about it. We're going to dinner. And I took don't worry about it as we're going to dinner. I'm good. I'm 100. You're taking me at my word, I guess, which is weird. But I did take a picture of my weight the day before. And so we go to dinner, beautiful dinner. It's something I'd never seen. There's a grill in front of you. We all sit around the grill, and they give you a big plate of meat, and you grill your meat up yourself. They give you vegetables, bread, all this good stuff. I hadn't eaten bread in weeks. So I ate a bunch of bread, ate a ton of meat, drank a bunch of water. And then I asked Engen, I said, we're good about the weight, right? And he was like, well, you going to weigh in now? I was like, no, I ain't going to weigh in now. I probably just ate 10 pounds of food. And he was like, well, I want you to weigh in anyway in front of the Georgians the next morning. And I'm like, oh no, So I spent my evening in a hot bathtub, and then the Georgians show up, and Engen comes down 8 in the morning. There's also, keep in mind, there are no scales in this building, and I didn't bring a scale, so I had no idea what I weighed. I'm just getting in the hot tub to make sure I'm under. And the gym was the only place in the hotel that has a scale, and it closed by the time we got back from dinner. So my stress level was through the roof. I'm dehydrating myself like a prune. And then in the morning, the Georgians come in around 8:30. I'm sitting in the lobby with like a gallon and a half of water waiting to drink. And Engen's like, he's 100 kilograms. Do you want him to weigh in? And they're like, nah, it's not a big deal. And I was like, boom. So that's how my trip started. But I weighed in anyway because I weighed in anyway and videotaped because I don't want anybody saying that wasn't the case.
It sounds like you and Engen went to rob a bank, and then once you got all the money, Engen just went, yep, all right, Paul. Now you give me your money. Like, sit there, yeah, you're sweet, you're sweet. Come to dinner. Eat.
In all fairness, it was my misunderstanding for sure. Like when I look back on the text messages, I thought I was weighing in right when I got there. That wasn't the case. So it was my misunderstanding. But then not actually weighing in the next day. Like they were like, you're cool. And I was like, with all due respect, I'm going to weigh myself right now because I need to make sure that I weigh this weight because I was in a bathtub all night.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Power Rangers, for your super chat. He says, Linn Sanity. I tell you what, I remember on our very 4th episode, I reckon I almost cracked 100 Paul Linn puns. I couldn't help myself. It was too easy. Everyone in the chat. Where do I go to see Paul Linn's match, East versus West 3? I paid for the pay-per-view, but never got to see Paul Linn. Richard, just go back to Core Sports. Go back to Core Sports. Scroll down a bit. The video will be there, East versus West 3. Otherwise, log in, chuck it in the search bar. You can watch all the matches. I know Engen's released 2 matches on his channel.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. For everybody who bought the pay-per-view, I have yet to watch an East versus West live pay-per-view, but I bought them all. So if there's ever any streaming issues or like the internet's not working on the Core Sports side or whatever, you can always, the minute that event is done, it gets uploaded and you can watch it and it'll be totally clean. So I think if you want to go to my match, you go to like minus like 2 hours and 39 minutes or something in that stream.
Yeah.
If you want to
fast forward it, you'll be there.
Yeah.
I've watched it a couple of times because we'll get to the match. So you've had that lead up. What's the atmosphere like, Paul? Because a couple of years ago, You're on WAL. You're becoming arm wrestling's breakout star, where someone different than your usual Johns and your Devons and your Todds. You're becoming this breakout star. Then you have a great win against Ron Barth, which shocked the world, me included. And we'll talk about that match a little bit later. And now you're invited. You're amongst them. You go there, you're at East versus West. The names speak for themselves. What was the atmosphere like, and what was it like for you?
So, that's, you know what? If we can start off by comparing it to WAL. To be honest with you, the amount that you do for East versus West in preparation for that event is more than what you do for WAL. So, like, what Angan had organized, and the level of effort that he put in a way, because he doesn't have that huge production team that WAL gets sponsors and everything else. So Angan is kind of organizing it all. Like, the guy is like a superhero. Like, his phone's blowing up at all times, and he's organizing dinners. He fed us at amazing food every night. We had a breakfast every morning. The spread was incredible. So we didn't really have to feed ourselves at all. And, we're doing photo shoots, signing shirts, pre-match commentary, press conference, all that stuff. So, to be honest, there was a little bit more expectations with East versus West than there was for WAL. WAL, you kind of get there a day ahead. You do all your stuff in an hour and you're done. So, like, the level of effort that Angan put in was incredible. As far as, like, the company you're around, like, I'm just blessed to be a name involved with those legends. You know what I mean? And I spent a great deal amount of time with Marcio Barboza and John. Those are the people I spoke the most to. But it's really, really interesting inside wise to see how everyone interacts together or kind of isolates. I thought it was very interesting to see these athletes, how they approach the match, and, which ones of them are, reclusive, and which ones of them are social, which ones of them seem to, be more focused or not. It was very insightful. I'm not the type of person to get, like, super starstruck. I have the utmost respect for all of these guys. But there was never like a feeling where, hey, you're the new guy or whatever. And I've met most of these guys before, but like super, super receptive, John especially, and Marcio especially. Like, I've known Marcio before, but I mean, I talked to John for probably a couple hours. It's a very, from a new guy who was a fan of the sport coming up, to be able to be in those conversations and hear what these guys are talking about is pretty cool for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I feel exactly the same way when, like, I'll ask people to come on the show and they're like, oh, about time, man, about time, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for you to ask me and things like that. So things like that, cool. And, everyone knows the catchphrase and all that. But I think it's just come to me, Paul, and I know you'll be at another East versus West. I think I can help the West. I think I can help the West. Okay. So those Eastern European pullers, they're very focused. They're very nonsensical, straight edge. Now imagine if you just invited an annoying, loud, screaming Australian to run around the dinner table. I won't talk to anyone from the West. And I'll just start nipping at everyone's ankles. Morozov. Ready, bang, coming up, mate. Morozov, how are you? And I'll start rubbing his head and losing it. I think I could be the West's secret weapon.
I'm with it. You can room with me as long as you can deal with my snoring. We're good.
Yes, we're on.
Hey, by the way, Morozov, I had no clue how big that guy is. I had no clue. This guy's like 6'6". He looks like Dolph Lundgren from Rocky IV. Yeah. He's like unreal. And people are like, hey, Paul, you're in such good shape. How lean are you? I'm like, look at that guy. He's like 275 pounds and leaner than me. He's like he's the Terminator. Unreal.
Go watch if you get time. Go. I think it's either he pulls Derek or he pulls Matt Mask. Either way, they scan to him in between rounds, and he literally gives the double caterpillars,
Yeah,
the double eyebrow raise, but then he flexes like this, and
yeah.
it keeps on going.
So hey, I rode the elevator down, right? I ran into him. And you know, like I'm a preparation guy, right? Like I like to get there early. I like to get my headspace right. I like to listen to what I'm listening to and get in the game, get in game mode, I'm like, I got all my stuff on. I got my book bag. I'm going to the venue. Morozov's coming out like with his girlfriend, like he just woke up. We're in the elevator and he goes, "Where's a good place to go get food?" And I was like, "Bro, you're the first match." And he was like, I'll be fine. Totally showed up late. Like, let's have the match and get me out of here. Unbelievable.
Wow, it could have been
So
a Godzilla's
when it comes to being relaxed, that guy takes the award.
Wow, that's amazing. Brian Damage and the Memories, one of my awesome bangers. He says, Paul, it's not true about the internet on rewatch. It still glitches at the same time. I think they just re-upload the stream, but that's all right. Hopefully it fixes itself and Engen will release the match. Let me just go through some more.
I watched it all on my wife's stream, and it was good.
Okay. Yeah, but like Neil Pickup joined Uncle John and I, and he missed the first 5 matches. Didn't work in England. So, yeah, Engen wears many, many hats, hound stuff. Many hats. Yeah, I've got nothing but respect for Engen. What he really just needs is the Aussie arm wrestler over there. Just saying. That's just, Manny is very happy. Manny Kellenis says, Paul Linn, absolutely magnificent performance. And we're going to talk about this match right now. Absolute champion, Andy Beckett. Hi, chat. Hi, Jake. Congrats to Paul also. Marcus Thompson, just the person that keeps my dream alive. The Money Slam with the giant super chat. Yeah, I cannot praise this guy enough. We speak all the time. Thank you very much, Marcus. He says, Paul's amazing win. Upwards and onwards. True gentleman over sport, but a killer on the table. Defo in my top 5 pullers. Though the power of that comeback, I think you killed the internet stream. Well,
hey, Marcus, my hat's off to you. Guys like you that are sending these super chats and making guys like Jake's time worthwhile. You are funding the sport. So unbelievable. It has nothing to do with the pullers. It has everything to do with you guys who are funding the sport and these guys who are given countless amount of hours of their time to help promote it. So thank you.
Yeah, Marcus is a stud, but it's everyone. Like, we've got 107 people right now, Paul, and this is something that just really like blows my mind. 107 people right now stop what they were doing so they could hear you have a chat about your match, hear the Aussie arm wrestler throw a couple of bad jokes your way, you pretend to laugh, we all get along. See, there's the fake laugh there.
No, see, that's a genuine laugh. When you tell me I'm pretending to laugh, then you make me really laugh.
But it's people. For me, time is the most expensive thing in the world. And when people also add financial support, help and support, so I'm able to do this full time because I love the sport. You're my 4th ever guest on the show, and it's something I'll never forget. And one of the first people to share one of my matches on Instagram back in the day.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Luke Kim.
Well, hopefully I can give you guys who tuned in a little bit of insight on the actual event itself, because I know when I was watching and like when I was hungry and everything, and I'm looking up videos and everything else, all I wanted was the inside. So I still feel like a newbie, so if I can help shed any light on some of the cool stuff that happens on the inside, I'd be glad to do that. Hopefully it makes somebody's day.
Well, you've got Luke Kent says Paul Linn is my rookie of the decade.
Hey, Luke, Paul Cohen has reached out to me a couple times and speaks so highly of you. I know I met you a couple times and everything, but like he's really brought into perspective what type of person you are, man. My hat's off to you too, Luke.
Yeah, there you go. And yeah, Luke's got a big match this weekend, which I'll be commentating. I'm keen for that. Thanks, Lukey. Sap the B with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Sap. He says, "Hey, Paul, John seemed disappointed after his match and seemed like he wanted to call it quits. Can you provide any insights about that?"
Okay. So I did not speak to John after that match. Several of us were so spent from the event and the weekend that we kind of just rolled. Marcio and I didn't do any after pulling. My bicep tendon sore, and Marcio wasn't having it. And John hadn't made his way back to us yet. I have not spoken to John after that. What I can say, and maybe some of this is speculation, but if any of you guys saw John's live feed during the rule explanation, he was going live, and I do not believe in my heart of hearts that he had any idea of the no center table pin rule, where in those two matches where he got into that hook and started to open Zurab to the point where he was easily bringing him back, Zurab switched to the flop wrist. Angin, and in the rules, because I remember I raised my hand a couple times in the rules. I think I was the kid with too many questions in class. Because there were several things where I was like, hold on. And Angin said there is, or actually the referee was explaining it, there is no center table pin. And I was very confused because here in the States, if we're arm wrestling and it's the center table and my hand comes on top and I press you, that is a win. Definitely in the center of the table. And in most leagues, even if it's on my side. So if I get knocked off center, but I totally take hand control and press you down, and your hand goes underneath first, that's a win. John was going live and not, I think he was kind of aloof to it. So I know at a bare minimum, that first one, he was totally unprepared for. I think he pronated out and pressed down. The match was super interesting, and it took until about the fourth round until all of the West kind of rushed the stage. I don't think the camera angle showed it, but like all of us were knelt at the stage, like over reffing the refs to get the hands to center. John arm wrestled. Almost all of us, in hindsight, looking at the video, arm wrestled on our opponent's side. Probably for me personally, quite a bit of it happened in my match, but I was unaware of it. So like corner man can't see it. No one can really see it. The down ref was offset to the left side. So the down ref wasn't centering the hands like I'm used to here. And I was unaware that I was starting on the deep side. And John, if you go back, I mean, from my perspective, sitting up in the stands was way off, you know? So we all rushed to the stage. I mean, I didn't, for the fifth round, I didn't shut my mouth. They probably wanted to kill me. I was screaming straight in the wrist. I said, move it to John. Yeah, I'm just like, I wouldn't shut my mouth. So
good. Yeah. We needed that. You needed support because I had Neil with Uncle John and during the Dave Chafee match, he was screaming. He's like, why is no one from the West team running down to help Dave? And because he was like, there's just one minimal thing and Dave will win.
Dave, I've been in Dave's presence a bunch of times. I've had very minimal conversations. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He always sends me supportive texts. I always send him supportive texts. He lives in Erie. Erie is 5 hours away from me. He is the only elite arm wrestler in the state that I've never practiced with because it's so far away. And Dave was one of the few arm wrestlers that I don't think I saw Dave until the day of competition. He kind of stayed in his room. There was no real communication. And after talking to Paul Talbot and some of his other teammates, that's how he prepares. But he didn't, I only cornered people who asked me to corner them. And again, I'm the junior guy, but the coach in me still wants to yell and, kind of be annoying and not be on the sideline. But I only cornered people that asked me to. I would have gladly cornered Dave. I just didn't think that it would be appropriate to me to say, hey, do you want me to be in your corner? He had his wife in his corner. But yeah, I mean,
It's
Dave
a
and I,
fine line, and
oh
it's an
yeah,
interesting
man.
take, yeah, because it's like, oh, Paul Amarcio are doing it, and everyone's in John's corner and things like that. That's an interesting sight because not knowing, it's like, oh, they're all friends, they're all on the same team, they just all got to corner each other. But
Right.
you, once again, being the nicest guy in arm wrestling, yes, we get it. You're so polite, Paul. Fuck it hell.
No, I'm not
No,
though.
but yeah,
I'm not
you
though.
are.
I'm not though when it comes to that stuff. Like I know me as a competitor. Normally, like my mental game is pretty good. I'm able to get into a good headspace. I've been competing for my whole life. I'm very comfortable with it. But all of us need someone to put a foot in our ass at times and say,
Cool.
wake up. And sometimes it doesn't need to be like, hey, I need you to change your setup. Sometimes it needs to be grab you by your arm and say, wake up, or go hard,
Lift.
Yeah.
Mate. Well, and we're about to get, speaking of lifting, we're about to get to your match now. I'll just knock over some comments. Juju Moogoo says, as long as Bowen is delusional, I'll keep super chatting. I love the photo and movie caption contest. Paul, if you ever have some time, we play this game on Maximum Bang Monday. It's every Monday night, Uncle John and the Aussie Arm Wrestler.
Yep.
And we put a photo up and we just get the comments section to caption it. And
That's
I'm
good.
in tears every week. Every week. If you've got a spare 10 minutes, fast forward it. The first one's about 45 minutes in. It is hilarious. I tell you, it's the best thing we've ever come across on the internet. Sup the B, again, thank you very much. She says, there's no way anyone can put RVJ ahead of you now.
I appreciate the love, but until that match happens, there's always going to be somebody with an opinion. So we'll see if it ever happens. Maybe one day.
Hopefully. Carolyn Looms, a big supporter of all the arm wrestling channels. Thank you very much. Amazing. She says, Paul, Marcio, and Derek Smith, the killers. Would you please make sure Derek doesn't go live before an event, wears his earbuds and carries a gallon of water and watches the ref, plus ammonia, please? And thank you. Oh, no, Paul, he looks frustrated. Talk to me, Paul.
Carolyn, you nailed it. And again, Derek is amazing, right? Derek is on every social media platform. At one point, he was in the press conference. I was sitting beside him, and he was live on like a Discord chat. Discord, I guess, is gaming stuff and everything. I know I'm getting old and everything. And I'm like, what even is this? And like, there's people that I know who have their name. And they were like, yeah, hey, I was on the Discord chat. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I love it because Derek is giving everyone the inside. And I wish I was a better person. I didn't even take selfies. I'm terrible. I have like no pictures. I was around all these people. But the flip side to that was I had my gallon of water and I had my mind state right. And I feel bad for Derek in that Derek was the leadoff match. And then he only had 2.5 weeks of preparation to get ready for this cyborg who is not even looking like a human being, like inhuman dude. He's got to get ready for him in 2.5 weeks. And then he has to be prepared for the possibility that he loses the match and then has to go commentate another 12. That's not a good position to be in. So not envious of him. We took a taxi from the airport to the hotel, and we talked about those things on the ride. And I told him at that point that I wasn't envious, but make the best of it. The good news is you get to set the tone, right?
Yeah. And shout out Derek. Derek's awesome. He'll learn from this. He studies the game. He's not an idiot. He'll bounce back.
He's a giant. He's a giant, and he's still young. He has every tool in the book, and he has all the love for the game. He's incredible. I love the dude.
Marcus Thompson says he saw how razor focused you were. I'll knock over some chats, guys, and then we're diving in. To match of the night. I'm so excited. Todd and Oleg's love child says East versus West needs to be a team sport.
I agree.
I get a team feeling.
Well,
I get it.
What I would say is there definitely was a feel of the United States versus Georgia. But then we had those different matches peppered in there, the different countries. The Georgians were very tight. And they definitely had that 2 or 3 people in the corner and everything. But I think what's tricky about like the United States side is we're so spread out, and like I've been blessed enough to know a lot of these guys. And, when you get to that elite level, they all know each other. But I think every one of them has a different preparation, And I think certain guys like Todd Hutchings, he don't need nobody in his corner. He's going to do what he's going to do. And, you know what I mean? Like Todd don't like this guy. He's a grown ass man. He's going to do what he needs to do. He don't need me to say anything to him.
Todzilla turns up on his lunch break and pins people. Yeah. He just grabs his bag and he's gone. He's the best.
Yes. I would absolutely love to come back to Vegas. I'm reading the message.
Sarah, she's a superstar. I love Sarah.
We need a big Vegas event. We need to bring East versus West to Vegas. I was talking a little bit to Josh Grant, and a lot of people have been nipping at Angan saying, let's bring this to the United States. I was impressed with how many people came to watch this thing live. Like, and for $25 entry fee, and then being able to after pool with all these legends, I mean, it's a small price to pay, but there was people that flew in from all over the place. People from the UK, people from Ireland. It was amazing. And honestly, it was, as far as the people I met, it was more interesting meeting some of these folks that I see on Phil Woody and some of these guys, these names I see on these chats. That's cool too. That's almost cooler to me than meeting some of these arm wrestlers,
Oh man, I cannot wait for it. Whether it's meeting.
Hey, Chuck Bardo's my guy, Jake.
Yeah,
Chuck Bardo's
No, he's not. He hates you. He hates you. He texted me. He goes, "Why have you got that piece of shit on your show?" No, Chuck's awesome.
Chuck Bardo's one of the first people to ever work with me in arm wrestling. He's one of the first people. He's one of the first people to come to my house and teach me arm wrestling. Chuck Bardo. And we've been friends ever since. And then unbelievable.
There you go. I'll knock over some chat so we can talk about this match. Ryan Dragon, thank you so much for your ongoing support. Very, very grateful. Paul, congratulations on your win. Any conversations about you East versus West 4?
No four. Football season for me. I talked to Angan. I went to his room before Marcio and I flew out. And I can't when I go into football season, I got to get the kids my time, So I think that's going to be, is it July or August or what is it?
August 6th.
Yeah, it's August, which is right in the middle of camp for me. So I'm tentatively.
Sorry, Paul, I've got to take this call. Sorry, Paul. Hello. Yeah, Paul's on his phone. That's why he's not picking it up. You're firing him, so he doesn't need to be there for football season. Yeah, I'll let him know. Okay, so you're upset with his arm wrestling thing. Okay, cool, ladies and gentlemen, Paulie's been sacked.
Man, the Central Dauphin Rams are going to win a state championship now that my ass is gone.
but we get you an East versus West 4. Yes.
No, I'm tentatively booked for East versus West 5 in November, which would be tail end of the season. It's tricky to train during the season, but I can swing it. I'll rest when I'm dead. It'll be nice to be able to come right out of football and do that. I mean, tentatively, Angan's talking about me and Zurab, which will be a step up. That's tentative.
Oh my God, I just flexed every muscle in my body. There we go. Ryan Dragon, you absolute stud. Thank you very much. The Power Rangers jumps in with a $10 super chat. He says, once a live feed gets solved where it runs good without any interruptions, someone should try and do virtual reality viewing where the person who bought that spot can see the matchup up close. That's not a bad idea at all.
I love that.
That is not a bad idea. Thank you very much, Power Rangers.
That's an interesting concept. That's a really interesting concept, though. Like maybe
someone fix out live streaming, we can do so much with it. We just steal what's happening with other sports, and that's a really good idea. We need Jake to do play-by-play at next East versus West. Well, you guys said it, not me. Hey. Zombie Tassiter with a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, should have been the Aussie arm wrestler commentating with Coach Ray. Look, hey, you guys are saying it. People power will win, guys. Don't worry. I will get there. I don't know when. I will get there. I will get there.
Yeah, you gotta have one color guy and you gotta have one like true analyst. And I feel like Ray was having to do a little bit of the color there. You gotta throw some, separation of duty and
yeah, people just think that a few of us, we scream and shout and a couple of catchphrases, but there is like arm wrestling, like football, there's an art to it. You can't just go and play quarterback. You can't just go and play linebacker. There's an art. You can't just chop and change.
Absolutely. And I mean, it would be much like if Derek's competing, he needs to be able to focus on competing. And I know he was originally commentating and it was kind of like a fill-in match. And of course he's not going to. So like Derek's taking a lot of flack, and in Derek's defense, 2.5 weeks to prepare for that monster is not enough. Okay. And then people are like, well, he got 3-0'd and he got top rolled and he got hooked. And the third round, he asked to go into a hook. Derek is not the type of guy. He's not trying to save face. He wants to know. You know what I mean? So he voluntarily went in the hook because I want to know how strong this guy is. So like Derek's not protecting rank or anything like that. He was very like okay with, going through that process and saying, well, he's too strong right now. So, I mean, you got to love him for that.
Yeah. Oh, Derek's awesome. Anyone that badmouths Derek's silly person. You should be ashamed of yourself. He's one of the nicest people in the world as well. Mr. Percolate 80, a fellow Australian. Oh my God. I get very humbled. I get up and about, Paul, and then you know what it's like. You get very humbled with things like this. This is amazing, Mr. Percolate. Thank you very much. Says, hey Jake, hope you're well. Paul Linn, favorite arm wrestling personality. Much respect, mate.
I hope I can keep living up, man. I'll do my best.
It's impossible to hate Paul Linn. I would love to go out there and invite people on the show to try and trash talk you, because I think they sit there and go, you know what, Paul, I love you, man. I just can't do it. I think it'd be very, very hard.
It's interesting kind of where I've gotten myself with the sport, because I mean, it's been a fresh start for me. And I've said this other times, like, going through football and everything and the position I played and everything else. And you can ask my wife and everybody else, it's terrible. I was terrible, terrible. And I'm like, man, I'm starting this new sport. I'm not going to be a jerk. You know what I mean? I'm going to but at the end of the day, I'm really not that nice. And sometimes it comes out usually on the table and I try and just keep it there. But it's an outlet for me to get that stuff out too, though.
Yeah.
So I love it.
What I loved about playing Australian rules football. I'm everyone's friend. I love it. But then when you jump on the field and you crash and bash, get to scream for 2.5 hours, whether it's directing teammates or things like that, you're just like,
and it's like, thank God. Thank the good Lord, I just held myself over for another week.
Yeah. Off season sucks. Mr. Percolate, thank you very much. White Wolf with a super chat says, most talked about of the table bout for East versus West after Paul super match, Engen versus Money Slam. Paul, you are the people's arm wrestler. Congratulations. Thank you very much, White Wolf. I would take we'll get to Marcus Thompson and Engen on the fix. That was, I don't know if you saw it, Paul, but we're 45 minutes in and we haven't spoken about the match. We are here. We've been hanging and banging. We've got to talk about the match of the night. You have come in, Paul, David Samusha. You put that big cannon on the table and you're ready to go. Talk us through you getting the first pin.
So the whole process was very strange because, I looked up every David Samusha match that I could find. Strength World YouTube channel just did like a highlight of me. And he also did one of David a couple days ago. And I wish I had that video because they found stuff, practice pools and things that I had never seen. But Engen had told me he's a deep inside hook puller and everything else. And most of his matches, he's totally committed to going inside. Now, obviously, these are at lighter weight classes and everything. So when we're on the live, and David had a translator, and he doesn't speak any English, and Angan was talking. He was basically said, what if this match started in a hook? And I said, I want to do that because I want to. That's where he's strong, and I want to test myself there. So Angan was like, okay, we'll come back to that later, closer to the match. We'll see if it's agreeable. And then Angan, during the press conference, said that, like, live, like, David, Paul agreed to go into a hook. Do you want to go into a hook? Coach Ray translated. David said, no, I don't want him to know where I'm going. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what am I doing now? You know what I mean? I'm thinking this whole time we were going wrist to wrist and doing something weird right off the bat. So at that point, I was like, okay, let me kind of rethink what I got to do here, and original game plan was fairly simple. If I want to hook or if I want to top roll, I want to strap. And I knew I was going to have to negotiate the setup and do all those different things. And, we got to rest grip. I knew I wanted rest grip. Got to the strap the first round. I felt comfortable slipping. It was kind of a neutral slip. Was happy with that. His hand felt really good. When I got the strap and I was able to get the strap set up I wanted every time that I had the strap. After the first round, I felt him loading, or in the first round, I felt him loading back pressure. And, he was loading to top roll me in the slip. And in my mind, I'm not going to come at him if he's going away. So I wound up, kind of high hooking with back pressure with him and getting a pin. And at that point, confidence was really high. And at that
left hand, with a broken left hand.
With me,
you smashed the shit out of the table.
That was round 5. That was round
round 5. Yes, it was too.
Yeah. But no, it was like an adrenaline dump there. And I went back to the corner with Marcio, and he was like, keep doing that. And I was like, I want to hook him this round. So in my mind, the plan was to hook him in the strap. I want the wrist to wrist connection for drag. And I get up there, and he's leaning forward, shoulder in, and I'm leaning forward, shoulder in, and Coach Ray is saying, this is going in a hook. It's going in a hook. And last second, so I felt him leaning forward, and I was like, fine, let's just do it without the strap, right? Last second, right before the go, he back pressures me, and game plan went out the window. I was like, all right, now I need the strap. So I tried to slip, and boom, losing position. And at that point, my whole game plan got kind of derailed, and I lost a little bit of focus because I was like, I went back to Marcio, and Angan said to me, what the hell were you doing? And if you listen to any commentary, you can listen to Ryan, you guys, you can listen to anybody. Everybody says, what was that? You know what I mean? Super bonehead, meathead moment, blackout, embarrassing. I mean, it adds to the drama of it. But at that point, I go back and, like, Angan's questioning, Marcio's kind of questioning, like, am I in trouble? And I'm like, no, I'm hooking this guy. Like, you know what I mean? I need the strap. I'm going to hook the guy, and we go back to set up. He's leaning forward, and I feel him coming forward now. And I said, screw it. I'm going to hook him outside the strap. And I felt I was really close to the pin. Every pin that I had to yell at the ref for a pin. Yeah. And you can listen to it. I'm like, that is a pin. His whole wrist is under. Like, what are we doing here? How much further do we have to go? Like, this is under the elbow pad. That one was close. It might not have been deep enough. But hats off to David, man. Unbelievable, like, elbow tuck, technical side pressure hook. His wrist in there was really solid. He was fighting off my down pressure with pronation. But at that point, I was kind of derailed. And the funny part of this was, after that match, everybody's like, oh no, Paul's blown up.
Hold on. Yeah, I want to build this story out. This is hilarious. Just quickly, I'll knock over a couple of chats. Zombie Tassada says, Levan recently talked of facing 2 people in one event. Paul, if you were one of those people, who would you want to be the other guy also pulling Levan? Oh, wow.
Wow. Devin. and I want Devin to go first.
Oh,
Devin,
I have to go up. Sorry, I've missed another chat. Carolyn,
yeah.
I thought I got your ones. Let's see. I'll
So
scroll back
Zombie,
up. Oh no. Oh, Carolyn, thank you very much. Paul, I saw the ref trying to distract you round one. You stayed focused. It was awesome to witness. And congrats.
thank you, thank
on
you.
your win.
No, the refs were good. The refs were really good, and they were really helpful. And I
Were
was,
they good? Were they good? They set up on David's side of the table. Come on, Paul.
That's my fault. That's my fault, though. That's my fault. That's my own situational awareness, and I think it kind of showed that, like, the West as a whole, we were kind of lazy to pay attention to that. And David was complaining about a lot of stuff. He complaining about my wrist. He was complaining about side pressure load, all kinds of stuff. And I think that all the talking and the activity distracted from that. And I think that, hats off to those guys, because I think Georgia as a whole really were able to control center. They were really tucked in and tight, all of them.
Yeah, no, I thought the reffing was all right. Sean Sullivan, Paul, what were you drinking when you first got to Istanbul? It was during your
That's
interview
another
with
story. You want another story? You want another story? So, like I said at the beginning of this interview, I went to that dinner, and I ate my face off, ate a bunch of carbs, and I was like, I drank the water that they had there. They give you weird stuff, like water comes in like this weird cup that you like peel the top off of. It wasn't enough water. So me and Derek and John were like, all right, let's walk back. It was about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, and let's find a convenience store and get like some, snacks and everything else. So we found a convenience store, and we had these big 5-liter bottles of water. And in this place, there is no Gatorade. There is no Pedialyte. There is no nothing that will rehydrate you. And finally, I found like a case of some off-brand Powerade. But people were making jokes the whole time that I was drinking like antifreeze or something. But I'm like, you can say what you want, but I got this 5-liter bottle of 50/50, off-brand Powerade that's blue and water, and I am going to drink every drop of it. Prudnick was making fun of me the whole time. Prudnick was like, he's drinking antifreeze.
Well, if that gets you the win, then absolutely do it. Now, you're down 2-1. What did the refs say to you?
Oh yeah, they were like, so Angan, I think thought it. Well, I know Angan thought it was over at that point. I forget exactly what he said, and I think Marcio was concerned too. I came back, and Marcy was like, "Yeah, lock your pronator," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna switch it up." And the ref waved me to the table, kind of the shorter guy, and I got up there. I don't like. I recover quickly. My endurance on the table, I think, is pretty good. Me getting stretched like that is really based off of me just not being technical in a hook, just being power driven. I kind of allowed it more than anything by overcommitting and being impatient. But I wasn't blown up any more than I would have been blown up from a setup in another 10-second match. Like, I wasn't done by any means. I still had options. Ref kind of waved me up and was like, "You're pretty blown up, huh? This is pretty much done. We might as well start now." Basically something to that effect. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm good to start right now, but this is not over. What are you talking about? I said, I would die trying to win. Like, all right, bring them up, And at that point, I had just switched to pronation protection with a little bit of low hand and more of a high hook approach. So more back pressure load, more pressure into his pinky. After he got that win in the hook, I figured he has to feel like that's his lane for success. So let me just counter it.
So why are the refs telling you that?
I don't know.
Oh, you're done. You're done.
But they were very helpful though. Like, I got this pointy elbow, and that's what they're talking about. And it's bad. It's really it's bad. I get fouled because of that, because it's not round. So like, if I'm putting it at the front of the table, like the point will be off, and I'm like, but isn't this my whole elbow? Like, why are you guys worried about that? Like, other people don't have that and they don't get fouled. So I'm always getting fouled because of these pointy elbows I got. Coach Ray says it's because of Menork, but maybe that's what it is. But yeah, they were helpful with the elbows and everything. But like, I guess it's a fair assumption that I was done. But no, at that point, I'm not done at all. It's just try another option.
No, you're involved in other sports besides arm wrestling, so I knew you weren't done. Oh, of course I was worried. You come out a flash of a pan, go bang, and then David goes 2-1, and we were calling the action. We're like, "Nah, come on, Paul, come on!" And we were screaming. So when round 4 comes in, and you get the pin, like, why didn't you just headbutt the ref and go, "Oh, I'm done, am I?" And just give him one of those. But seriously, what was the feeling for round 4? And you've just we're going to a silver bullet.
Well, I mean, I guess like, and like I think you guys were like a couple people in the thing were like, "Come on, like get focused" or whatever. There was a gap in focus between rounds 2 and 4 for sure. There was the comfort of round 1 where I felt very comfortable, and then I kind of got derailed, trying to do different things. Like I knew I didn't want to leave the match without being in a wrist-to-wrist one way or another. I didn't want to leave that. And, kind of the result of that weird last second, like flash pin derailed what I wanted to do. And then it took me to round 4 to get back on track. I mean, honestly, if I had it all to do over again, what I learned from it is ref's grip, strap, high hook. I think if I followed that game plan, there was a road to a 3-0 or a 3-1. I think I would have got the 3-1 anyway, because I would have went to the hook no matter what. I think the deep hook no matter what. I think with the strap, it probably would have been a little bit different. But David is an incredible inside puller. And he's versatile, too. And I wasn't expecting the versatility, the side pressure top roll and the back pressure load.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. I thought, bloody hell, oh no.
And he was like, he only pulls inside. Everybody's like, he's only inside. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on?
I thought Paul's getting hustled here. I don't like it. Now, if we cue the Titanic music, round 5. And I was just looking at your elbow the whole time. I'm like, I'm like in my head, I'm like, don't you fucking elbow foul. Don't you dare elbow foul. Don't you do it. No. Yeah. And then the pin happens. The referee gives one of these ones to Paul Linn. Besides breaking your left hand, what does that feel like? Because you've played a lot of football, so like you go to the away ground, you get a big win, or you win a big final, you're off to the championship game, or you win the championship. What did that moment feel like? I mean, I think I heard you scream. I think I heard you scream from Turkey. It came into my garage. You were, oh, yes.
Yeah. Football is different, man. Like when you're playing a football game, it's usually till like the kneel it down moment till you have that adrenaline dump. It doesn't come off of like a real big explosive moment. Arm wrestling, if you have a close match, or even if there's a turning point in the match, there is that big emotional, like, and that was that, you know what I mean? And it kind of happens in a split second when it sinks in that, like, okay, they called the pin. And now it's like these past 3 days of anxiety and these past 8 weeks of preparation come to a head. And it's like an emotional outburst followed by a huge dump. You know what I mean? Like a huge, like, punch me out. And I think I missed the match following up because I just had to go. Like, I had to walk out of the auditorium and go take a walk. I had to just clear my head.
It wasn't much. That might have been the Krasny match, actually. So you didn't miss.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Sat the B wants to know, Paul, what happened at the end of the Prudnik Matt Mask match? Because we missed it. We saw some head rubbing, and then it all.
Where did it drop off? Where did it drop off? Did it drop off before Matt's went on fouls or after?
Yeah. After round 2, Prudnik toyed with him, gave Matt Mask the head rub, and that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember. It was over. It was over kind of after that 3rd round. I was up in the stands talking to Marcio, and after the 3rd round, it was kind of done. So I don't have any huge insight. I was way up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah. Was there anyone there that, like, really surprised you the way they went about their business? Whether it be they were, I thought this guy was quiet, and he's over the top screaming, or this guy doesn't even really care about the events, or anything, or you met someone and you're like, oh my God, you're hilarious. Was there someone that just went, oh?
Yeah. So Morozov was to me like the most impressive physically and also like nonchalantly. Like he was funny, he was like high energy, and he didn't really seem to have a care in the world. Tobias Sprung, to me, was the most impressive. Like that dude is like what, 23? It's like a giant baby and a total savage, unbelievable. Like just everything about him was super, super impressive. To me, aside from Marcio winning both arms, but I'm biased there. You know, Tobias was the most impressive person. The way he was very calm. He didn't interact a whole lot, and then he showed up on the table like larger than life. You know what I mean? And then I got to meet a guy from my wife's country, Lebanon, by the name of Mark Basile, who is enormous. I don't know if you know, he was a top 8 guy. He's like 400 pounds, a mega side pressure. That guy is a gem. I love that guy. I text back and forth with him, and then I met him, and his English was good. And I was like, yo, come to the United States. You're staying at my place, dude. I love you. You know what I mean? Awesome. Yeah. I would love to train with that dude.
And Tobias, Toby, the Tobe Doctor, Toblerone, whatever his name is today. The one thing I really loved was he pulled at the last East versus West, and I think it was a fill-in match for PAL, and he lost. But what I loved was the dedication of, right, that's not happening again. I might not win, but I will show you that I am the real deal.
He read when he in the Prudnik match and the Marcio match, his innate ability to read the match was incredible. Like every time Prudnik or Marcio was set up to hook, he reversed top roll, like just like elbow to the front left and boom. You know what I mean? Like just, and then anytime somebody was going out, he's coming in. It was just like his movements were so explosive, yet so controlled. Like the kid's a total package. And then you see him squeezing that gripper and doing like the highest numbers ever. Like he's a weirdo. And he's a giant.
Yeah, I absolutely love him. I might chase up the Toblerone to come onto the show. Is his English good?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Carolyn wants to know, thank you very much, Carolyn. Thank you very much. Got 154 people here checking out the Super Nintendo. Paul Linn here. Very, very happy. Thank you very much, guys, for your love and support for Paul and myself. Paul, do you think anyone can beat Morozov right now?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't see Morozov pull with like the supers. We did see the after pull with Mark Basile. Outside the strap, Mark Basile's side pressure was too much. Inside the strap, Morozov was able to find a lane. I think, you know, the guys of the likes of Gennady and some of these people, Morozov's still young. His top roll super clean. His elbow forward, like vertical hook is really good. But he set that against Derek too. Like when Derek said, let's go in a hook, he set perfect for it. You know, everything blocked. I don't think that he is yet. I think maybe he's coming close to that top 10. But he was significant, according to everybody there, he was significantly bigger than the last one. And I didn't see him in the last one, but I seen him in this one, and he looked significantly big. I don't know how bigger, but he was enormous. So he's another one. He's a baby still. He's like earlier mid-20s. So these are the guys, these are the super freaks that are coming out down the road. We'll see where they go. But yeah, I think that like the top 10 guys would probably be okay.
Yeah. So basically everyone just cut weight. These super freaks, super heavyweights that are coming, just cut weight. Not even
everybody wants to tell me, hey, you're going to get bigger. I'm like, no, man, I want to get smaller. What are you guys talking about? You see these weirdos? I don't want anything to do with these guys.
Yeah. Brad K, you're dead set legend. Thank you very much. Says, let's go, Pauline. Ready, bang. Anytime anyone says ready bang, I get very, very humbled. I get very humbled. It's
I thought you were going to say aroused. That wasn't the word I was looking for.
early on, I used to always run into my wife and I was like, look at this. Someone just sent me this from Kazakhstan and they're like ready bang and things like that. And now like it's when I message people, you know, they'll say ready bang or whatever. I find it all. After the match, the after pulls, did anything behind the scenes happen? Is there anything behind the scenes that you found impressive, that you found fun? You know, what was besides competing and winning, what was like the one thing you absolutely loved about the event?
So this is the first time in the history of my life involved in arm wrestling where I did not participate in an after pull. I am usually the weirdo who's there until everyone leaves, drinking beers until my arm falls off. But my distal bicep head was sore coming into this, which was the one thing that had me worried. Just like the insertion was a little bit sore. And then after the match, I tried to pull a little bit with Mark Basile, and it was not happening. So Marcio and I just rolled, and we went for a long walk and went and got dinner at about 1 a.m. So no after pull for me. The videos are the only thing that I saw. So whatever you guys saw, I saw. To me, I think the highlight of the whole thing was really meeting the people who support the sport and were willing to drive/fly in from all over the place and take pictures. And like, to me, that's the highlight. The people who are the genuine fans, up and coming pullers. I met a bunch of dudes that, you know, that had been following me on Instagram, and I can't remember names. I'm terrible. But like when I get a face and like, hey, I was this guy, I'm like, boom, okay, let me follow you back. I can't believe I didn't follow you. You know what I mean? So like I've had conversations with guys who are just fans of the sport. To me, that was the highlight, you know, and those are people who I'll continue to converse with moving forward, you know?
Oh, they're unbelievable. They are unbelievable. A few more questions in a game, of course, because I've just looked at the bloody time and realised I've taken way more time than I should. When you match of the night at East versus West, time is everything. Time is everything. So we've got football season.
We do.
Right. So when football season's over, when that's all finished and you won your 13th championship with the Rams and blah, blah. No. So when that's all done, what is there? There may be some East versus West 5 cooking in the works. What else, Mr.
So
Linn?
next up, I got Monster Michael Todd's Monster Factory event. I think it's July 9th. Based in super heavyweight, like 350-pound BJ Kakis. He's a top 10.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and my good buddy Justin Bear is pulling Chris Chandler. So Lord willing, we heal this bicep up, maybe get a little PRP injection, get back to the training. That'll be the next thing that I prepare for, and then we'll take that hiatus until probably November. I'm promoting events though too. I got the Keystone State Championship coming up here on June 18th, which is now being sponsored by WAL for their comeback. We are expecting a 600 plus entry event. It's going to be mega. All kinds of cool stuff coming out with that we can't announce yet until we get approved. But that's going to be awesome. So I'm gonna have my plate full with other events and promotions we got going on. Some super matches that we're working to promote between now and football season. So I'll have my hands full one way or another.
Sorry, did we just get the Linn side scoop? It's WAL back. Oh, the Trapezoid.
The Keystone State Championship will be the first sponsored event. I'm not privy to talk about other things that they potentially have in store, but things are in the works.
All I have to just tell every single person is I told you so. I've been flying the WAL flag. I've been trying to get Steve Kaplan on the show to have a chat, and he's just been waiting and waiting. He wants to announce, but everyone keeps saying that it's dead, and I keep trying to beat life into WAL. Yes.
We have to, as like arm wrestling community, we have to understand the difference between the WAL and like what Angin's doing. Angin is doing things. So this is another thing I kind of want to make a point. Angin essentially funds these whole events out of his pocket. So guys, to stream all these other things we complain about, Angin has over $50,000 out of pocket into these events. And during the whole time where he's scrambling, running around, he has like a number of pay-per-views that he has to hit to make his money back. So East versus West 2, I think he needed like 4,000 to make his money back, 4,000 like pay-per-view views. And East versus West 4 costs $15,000 more. So, and he's not stopping. Regardless of those pay-per-views, he's still booking 4, 5. You know what I mean? He's doing it because he's an arm wrestler and he wants to see these matches and he wants to provide them view. And this is not like a dig on WAL, but the flip side to that coin is WAL is a league run by a true businessman, not an ex-arm wrestler, a guy who, you know, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with that, because I think that that's needed for the sport too. But throughout these past 3 years, obviously COVID derailed everything that they wanted to do. And then it also hindered the possibility to get sponsorship. Without true big name sponsorship, WAL does not take place. It has to be covered ahead of time. Prize money, overhead has to be covered. And that in order for them to do that from a business perspective, they have to be able to sell to those sponsors. That has been the plight over the past 3 years, and it's been hampered by COVID and everything that our world has been through. So it wasn't that Steve walked away or, you know, took his ball and left. Steve just waiting for it to make sense. And from a business perspective, somebody who's in business themselves, I don't hate that at all, because the better sponsors he gets, the better product we put out.
And Scoops McKenzie gets the scoop again. Guys, I'm not Scoops McKenzie. There's some character with a mullet. He does arm wrestling news on my show, Maximum Bang Monday. They think it's me in a mullet. It's not. Scoops McKenzie is a different person. But mate, if you ever get a chance, just watch Maximum Bang Monday. It is the best variety show on the planet. The guys here, they all love it. We have characters. There's some guy named Gilbert. He sticks up for all the trolls on the internet. He's some nerd that comes on the show. You'll have a laugh. Going back to supporting Engin, guys, I think I worked it out. I paid $1.08 per match for East versus West. I got 13 quality matches from the best arm wrestlers around the world. No other sport will you get that for $1.08 per match. You know, for those that fork out $50, $60 for the UFC, you'll get 5 matches, and they might be maybe in the top 10, top 5, a championship match. Yes, okay, but we really need to get him board and support everything that is on arm wrestling. Not the 150 in the chat. All these guys are amazing, but anyone else that watches this a bit later on.
Yeah, and guys, I'm 100% with you, Jake. And you know what? I don't talk the talk. I buy everything. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a pay-per-view, I'm gonna buy it. You know, I even if I can't watch it live, like I again, I haven't watched one live yet. I just rewatch them, but I want to see the matches. We're all fans of the sport. You got when you look at a guy like Angin, and this is the route, you know, he's doing everything he possibly can, and the guy's the epitome of passion for the sport and for the athletes. Like, he's not doing this to make money at all. And in fact, he's not making money. So you gotta support this guy. And people give him flack online, like, oh, he gets upset and blah, blah, blah. You know why he gets upset? Because he just poured the past 2 months of his life, the past 2 months of his bank account, his family's time, his energy, his effort, his emotion into putting out what he hoped to be the best quality event for us as pullers and as viewers as possible. And when that live stream doesn't work, you know who is the most hurt? Angin Terzi. Yeah. Not you or me. He was so up middle, hey, more inside. Middle of it, I'm cornering Michael. And I'm standing right beside Angin, and he was like, maybe I won't do this anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I'm getting all these comments. My phone's blowing up about the stream not being good. And then he was upset, kind of like with Core Sports. Like, they're getting paid. Like, they're supposed to handle this. And I was like, dang it. My wife watched the whole thing. She's watching it now. She's not having a problem. So I don't know if everybody's having a problem or what. And he was like, so, basically was like, so I shouldn't be mad then? I said, well, I mean, maybe you should be mad, but not right now, like, yeah. And I said to him, I said, I don't promote events like this, but I promote events. And I can tell you this, you cannot please everyone all the time. You cannot. No matter what, at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody who's dissatisfied and who's going to trash you. And you got to be able to just roll with those punches. And Angan has so much emotion tied into it because he's so passionate that he allows it to affect him. He allows it to affect him. And that's not a dig on him. That's just who he is because he's so passionate. And, as arm wrestlers and supporters of the sport, man, we got to love that. We can't, like we talk about constructive criticism is one thing. But he is definitely a guy who doesn't handle the trolling well. And I know there's a lot of trolling in this sport, and I love it. I kind of participate in it and everything. I'm always in the comments.
There's trolling, there's banter, and then there's trolling. The banter's fun.
We got to keep it above the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm all for banter, but I think if Angan wants to move forward and put on these events, I think he just needs to stay off the internet. That's just what as in when an event happens, do not expect to go on Facebook and get thousands of praise. Get your personal messages because all your friends and all the important people are going to message you. The athletes are going to come shake your hand at the end of the day and go,
the people who matter will support you always. You know what I mean? And I would love, we need to get Angan to bring one of these to the United States. That's the one you need to come to, Jake. Let's get him to come here in November, man. You can stay at my place. I got plenty of room. We'll shoot guns and ride four-wheelers and stuff.
We need it. We need it. And Juju reckons it should be at the Bunny Ranch in Nevada. Brothers and brothels. We've already got some venues rocking and rolling. So I've got to ask. We're 1 month away from the biggest arm wrestling match, probably in the history of the sport. 1 month away from the biggest match in the sport. Devin Larratt, Levin Saganishvili. Pauline, who do you think will win that match?
I'm rooting for Devin.
I didn't ask who you were going for.
I'm rooting for Devin. I will be screaming and supporting and doing everything, sending as much energy to Devin as possible. I do think he's doing everything in his power, mentally and physically, to get himself ready. I don't know. I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I hope that Devin can find a way to gas him in the setup, to control the refereeing, to take as much away and force Levon to arm wrestle North American style. To me, that's, and I know that's what Devin's going to do. He's going to force it into the world of North American arm wrestling, where things get hairy with the refereeing, things get hairy with the strap, things get hairy with maybe a King's move, something like that. I'm hoping for that. I'm really interested to see how Levon deals with that. I just think that guy's a machine. He's a machine. The Georgians as a whole, that whole country, that whole team, they're machines. And they're committed.
Georgian arm wrestlers are insane. That is for sure.
They are all getting bigger and stronger and better. All of them, from Rivas to Gennady. Look at their progression. Look at their trajectory. Look at Zurab from the because I don't know what you thought, but from the Ron Bath match to the John Brzezinski match, he looked way better, in my opinion.
Becoming more refined as an arm wrestler, not just relying on that big bulging bicep.
Becoming bigger and stronger.
There you go. Very very down the line there. Very political answer there, Paul. Look, a lot of us definitely rooting for Devon.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, you come on the show. We've got to play arm wrestling's favorite game. Pin one, lose one, get rid of one. Going to give you the name of 3 arm wrestlers. You got to tell me which one you're going to pin, which one you're going to lose to, and which one you are telling no more arm wrestling, no more social media, no more anything.
Okay.
For 2022. I'm going to give you 3 people that are at the top of your division.
Okay.
And that is Todd Hutchings, Yevgeny Prudnik, and John Brzezinski.
Pin one, lose to one.
And then you got to tell one you're not allowed to arm wrestle or do any social media for the next 12 months.
I would want to. I love Todd Hutchings, but he is like my goal. I would like to pin Todd Hutchings, but also in a deep hook. I can lose to John. I proved that already. Evgeny Prudnik is the funniest foreigner that I've ever met in my life, but he's too young and he has too much potential. He's got to go.
Go back to X Factor. Keep singing, you reckon?
Yes. Like, what is he? What is it? He does the whole opera or go to that. Ukraine has talent. Yeah. Sorry, Evgeny.
Gone, big fella, gone. I'll tell you what, thanks to Prudnik, ever since Matt Mars pulled Hermes Gasparini at WA, I've been a bit like, I don't like this Hermes guy. But now I'm seeing a lot more of Hermes and Hermes teaming with Prudnik. Yeah. I love them too. I love them.
Yeah, they're like the odd couple. They're like humor bounces off each other. And Prudnik has like that sense of humor where he doesn't really have to speak good English, but his facial expressions, body language is hilarious. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Guys, them two are hilarious. Guys, we're going to wrap it up in a couple of more minutes. So if you've got any questions for Paul, Linn, quickly get him in there because I've taken a hell of a lot of his time and I appreciate that. I appreciate your wife as well for letting me steal you for this because you've always been, from day one, a huge supporter. So, guys, get your questions in. If you could, Paul, I'm noticing the fix is getting a bit crowded over there. Sometimes there's 9, 10, 37 people on the fix. One of my favorite shows. If you had to get rid of one person, who would you get rid of on the fix?
Well, I mean, are we talking about the fix where there's 37 people because Neil just opened up the floodgates to a bunch of tiles, or are we talking about like of the 4?
Of the 5, because Uncle John comes on every week.
Oh, right. Yeah. What am I even saying? Well, I mean, me and Coach Ray are like this. So, we know you can't get rid of Coach Ray, right? Neil runs the show. So, like, who's going to start the live feed? Uncle John's like the best dude ever. So,
whoa, the best dude ever. You come on my show and you pull that shit on me.
Hey, it's your partner, man. You don't support him.
I love him. I absolutely love him. Yeah, he is the man. So much of a madness. Yeah,
what's the catchphrase though, isn't it? Like, what are we rolling with right now? F Bowen? Is that what we're going with?
Leave my man alone.
I love Brian.
You guys all work together. Sep the B wants to know, who does Paul think wins out of Corey Weston, Brzezinski, and Monster Michael Todd and Todd Hutchings?
Man, those. You know what? I'm just glad I have a match at that event because I just want to watch the event live. Wow. I know a lot of people, when we're talking about Michael Todd and Todd Hutchings, a lot of people after last weekend are saying Michael's done. Michael is not done. Michael's not done. And I feel like every loss that Michael takes is closer to him getting the next win because of the pressure he puts on himself and where his money comes from and everything else. So he's in a back against the wall situation at all times. The pressure is not on Todd Hutchings to beat Michael Todd. And we did see that Todd had problems with Devon's King's move. And with Michael Todd, it being his event and whatever rules, I know Angan was all over Michael during that match about his shoulder. And that was another thing that was really weird. And I don't blame either one of them, but I'm cornering Michael in that thing. And I'm like, Michael, look at me. You're arm wrestling. Stop talking about this right now. Just go arm wrestle, and he was so sidetracked by the rules. But I mean, if the rules are set and Michael can adhere to them, I know Todd is in incredible shape. Side pressure is incredible, but we've yet to see Todd deal with the King's move. It's super interesting. It's incredibly interesting. I would probably favor Michael Todd just because of the fact that we have not seen Todd Hutchings pin a King's move yet. As far as Corey and John, man, it depends on really John, like how pissed off he is about this previous match but Corey looks super crazy strong. That said, Krasy, when I seen Corey crush Krasy like that, like my first thought wasn't like, oh my goodness, Krasy's off. My first thought was, wow, Corey is insane. But Krasy seemed in this event to be a little bit off also. So I don't know where that level playing field is. I can say that if there is a hole in Corey's initiation and hand, John's going to find it. I have a feeling that Corey is I talked to him enough that he is in the best shape of his life. I know that. And he's super motivated for it. But I think all of us get caught up in the like, oh no, it's John thing. And I think he's going to have to deal with the feeling of being the underdog, whether he is or he isn't. So I think it'll come down to that. I feel like if John, is in a good headspace, it's always John's match to lose, But Corey is a gorilla monster for real. With if John, let me just put it this way. If John top rolls Corey, my head will explode like a tomato. I've never felt someone like from constantly containing Michael like that. His hand is crazy. If John can rotate him out, so I hope John hears this and does it or tries to do it. I would love it.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait to be on the undercard of that event.
Oh, I can't wait to call the action. Oh, I'm so pumped for that one. Kevin Pelko, Arm Wrestling wants to know, Paul, when can I come train with you?
Tomorrow, bro. Come to the crib. Let me know.
Go.
Send me a DM anytime you want. Kevin Palco's the man. Do you know who Kevin Palco is?
I've heard of him. A lot of people are singing his praises. I've seen a couple of his matches. Looks like a bad dude on the table.
He's like a massive really 154 guy. He's like, I believe all of the rankings have him top 5, 154. He's like a huge 154, like dog inside hook puller, just a beast. He pulls all the Northeast events. Savage.
Beautiful. Might have to get him on the show then. Might have to get Kevy boy on the show. If he gets the Paul Linn approval, then he can come on the show. Paul, if you could pick any arm wrestler to be a middle linebacker on your football team, who would it be and why is it the Aussie arm wrestler? Because he has the biggest shoulders in the world and the toughest son of a bitch ever to go on this face of the earth. What a question, Steele. It may have just got cut off, that end bit. But I think there was a glitch, so it stopped it. Who would it be?
That was amazing. Being the fact that I played middle linebacker, I'll have to go with myself because I trust myself as far as that goes. No, I'm trying to think who else played. You know who else I think played football and was a linebacker? And I'm going to draw a blank right now like a dum-dum. Superman, Adam Warzinski, I believe, was also a very touted college football player. Adam Warzinski, I think. I could be wrong. Somebody check my references.
He looks like Clark Kent. Paul, please continue to give Derek Hall. You're the best coach ever.
Maybe for football. Some arm wrestling stuff. I can't coach the good arm wrestlers. They know more than me.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Carolyn. You're dead set legend. She's just, I love Carolyn. How do you see yourself against Zurab? Says Power Rangers.
There's a lot of factors in a Zurab match. I can look at the Ron Bath match, and Zurab said he had COVID a couple weeks prior to that, and he was only at whatever percentage. Look at the John match. Look at his after pulling. His hook with his arm vertical seems really, really good. His biceps seems really good. I think that there's lanes against Zurab. I know he can pull without his hand. There would have to be a very specific approach. And I know Zurab told me that Zurab's 5'7", and he told me he wants to be 115 kilograms. And I'm not good with math, but I can tell you this: I will not be 115 kilograms. I am not willing to do that. So we'll have to talk those details when Engen works them out. Again, just a tentative match, but I think that there's a lane and there's some specific training that can be achieved to open that lane up.
It'd have to be. Coliseum Arm Wrestling says Corey is an athletic Cleve Dean in size. I think he's a bit shorter than Cleve, but
and his lever is not as long. His style's way different too. Cleve was like that high side pressure. Corey is like immense side pressure, but more of a hook pronated puller.
Pretty sure Jerry was a Division I player. And
oh yeah, you're right. Jerry was a fullback though. He was a fullback. I think at Boston College.
That's right. Thanks, Paul. We'll make it happen. Everyone is going nuts. Guys, we will wrap it up there. We've been going for an hour and a half. You have been here with the man that had the match of the night. Coming back from 2-1 down, and he almost gave an Aussie arm wrestler an injury, because those that watched my live stream or listened to the commentary, I was definitely up and about. Uncle John almost fell off his chair. We were screaming and screaming. We were very, very happy. Paul, don't ever change. You are one of the true assets to the support. You know, you came on the show, I think, when I had like 55 subscribers. I think when I had 100 followers on Instagram, you're like, yeah, man, if I can help out. We had a lot of fun. You were sitting in your car. Obviously, my live streams changed a fair bit. I've tried to evolve like you have as an arm wrestler. So I'll always appreciate your time, my man. I'm very grateful for what you do, and I'm so glad you're having big, massive wins, and hopefully in the off season of football, you get the big money matches that I believe you truly deserve.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Hey, I'm always here to support, man. I appreciate you. Like you talk about having 54 subscribers. Look at you now, man. Ready, bang.
It's my full-time job. This is my full-time job now. It's been going for 3 months, so it's going to be amazing. Everyone's singing the praises. Later, Paul, that dedication. Thank you, Ozzy and Paul. Awesome as always. Everyone's just going nice, Paul. Appreciate you, which is awesome. I believe, guys, Beer Man with Burgoyne and Uncle John start in 27 minutes. So go over there and tell them that Paul Linn, and not the arm wrestler, sent you. Paul Linn, end this live stream with a ready bang. Ready bang. Beautiful.
Ready bang.
There it is. Yes, with the Aussie twang. I've got the most annoying accent in the world. I love you guys. I love you. Love Pauline.